Hi Periscope, it is Zakia. How are you all? Hello, hello. I know it is New Year's Eve. Hey Natalie, how are you? I know it's New Year's Eve and I have read this before. This is an essay. Hey Anna, you've heard this before, Anna. Mom Ledger, Justo Gun, hello. I know everybody is getting ready for the new year and excited and celebrating. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, hello, hi Lorraine, hi Little Skinny, Deborah Hill, everyone, thank you for coming in. There's a lot of places you can be, but you chose to be here with me. They say that in like all kinds of like rap songs, so I felt like I was a rapper, but I'm not really one. I found a Happy New Year. Hey Mike, how are you? And I titled this scope. I didn't do my walk with me today. Hi Lorraine, hi Anna, hi Cece. I didn't do my walk with me today because I was spending time with my daughter. We were at the dentist office today. Her jaw is hurting her, so we probably need to go and see an oral surgeon. Enjoyed the open mic the other night. Oh, last night I did 2 scopes. So I did a Periscope. And then I also did on my Facebook page, hey Marquita, I was at Black and Noble last night. And there was a group there called Heart Attack. Heart Attack. And they had like violins, all kinds of string instruments. And it was just spoken word with music behind it. It was just phenomenal. So I did share it out worldwide. So even if you're not my friend on Facebook, you can still, they were amazing. I periscoped the history artifacts. Oh, I'm gonna go and see it. Hey, Aunt Puff. Oh, I want to go there so bad. Yes, Black and Noble is kind of like a historic, come to church tonight if you're free. Probably, I would love to come, but Mike, you gonna put me on the spot like that? You gonna put me on the spot? I'll try to come. Hey Dryer Buzz, how are you? So, what are you fighting for in the new year? So this was an essay that I wrote in 2001. And I had actually gotten a scholarship for it. And I go through a journal every year. And in this, I got a $2,000 scholarship. I actually had to present it out. I was in an internship program. It was called Inroads. And what they did is they took kids from different universities and they put them in Fortune 500 companies to work. And then they gave them training, all different kinds of things. And so we had to write these essays. Well, we didn't have to. It was a competition. And I actually won first place and had a chance to read it at the thing. And I read it again maybe about 2 months ago. And then I read it again today as I was preparing for the new year. So if you guys will indulge me, it's a page and a quarter. I want you guys to listen under the dryer, so going to have to hear the replay. Okay, I'll email you this, and it'll also be on my blog. But I titled the scope, the essay, Learn Today, Lead Tomorrow. And I wrote, leaders are developed, contrary to the popular belief that leaders are born. Obviously, leaders must have excellent business acumen, organizational agility. However, they must possess core competencies in order to be effective leaders. Learning behavioral skills such as communicating effectively while being an active listener, initiating change, taking risks, and building trust develops leaders. And I'm reading that wrong. There should have been some commas in there, so I don't know how I won first place, but what I won. Through daily observation and interaction with many leaders at my corporate sponsor, I am learning the necessary behavioral skills each day at my internship and will be prepared to take on a leadership role when my time comes tomorrow. Each team has a goal, and once everyone understands that goal, problem solving and decision making begin with clear, open communication. Discussing ideas and strategies in an effective manner will then reveal feelings, explore assumptions, and build a common ground between everyone in the group. All members, hello, Happy New Year. All members' inputs are then valued without diminishing conflicting views. In turn, critical thinking among everyone is developed. Nonverbal communication also develops leadership by allowing groups to interpret signals and messages through body language. Leaders communicate through eye contact, upper body movement, or even a nod. A good listener will devote attention, energy, and skill to grasping and interpreting the genuine meaning of both verbal and nonverbal messages. Listening helps to gather information, which is the foundation for any decision making that must be done by a leader. Leadership is achieved through influence. Since leadership centers on creating change, any member of a group can be a change agent. Working well in a group requires members to anticipate change and not fear it. Members influence one another because leaders and followers rotate, and this flexibility fosters good teamwork. As members overcome fear by taking risks, they build self-esteem, a valuable leadership capacity. Those high in self-esteem take risks, and since self-esteem is built through rotation, leadership is further developed. Building trust starts with simple behaviors that underscore commitment and loyalty to the group. Trust is also achieved through influence. If a leader exhibits high ethics and values, it is apparent, and members of the team will be eager to follow this model. I am confident that through my ongoing, I named the company, experience and inroads, personal and academic development, I will be an excellent leader in any venture of my life, whether it is career-related or individual goals I am attempting to achieve. The fundamental leadership skills learned today will continue to be polished and give me a foundation to excel in all endeavors tomorrow. And I reread this to myself a couple of months ago, and then I read it again today. And what I realized, the title that I gave it back, first of all, I don't even think I understood most of that stuff that I wrote then, but I feel like it was my younger self talking to me today and understanding that learn today and lead tomorrow. Every day is tomorrow. Every today is when you're learning something new that you're going to apply the next day and the next day and the next day, over and over and over again. So I titled this scope, What Are We Fighting For? I think for me, what I'm fighting for is happiness and a sense of peace, whatever that may mean. So I'm hoping that as you are preparing for 2016 or even 2015, December 31st, 2015, figure out what it is that you are fighting for. A nanny. Yes, I'm fighting for a nanny. The nanny will be here soon, Anna. I am bringing that into realization. Figure out what it is that you are fighting for and work at it. You really, really have to work at it. I said, and I have like 2 blog posts going on. I have 2 completely different websites going on right now, but they're converging into one, which is amazing. And I've been writing in there over and over and over again. And the one thing that's consistent, and the reason why I have been scoping the way I have, is I have created a personal blog because I feel like I am going to be very successful. I am already very successful, but I don't want anyone to ever think that it was an overnight success. I want them to see the journey because I've been looking at people and trying to figure out, well, how did they do it? How did they get there? So I talked about Alexander Hamilton. You guys know I love Alexander Hamilton, the Broadway musical that's out there. And he constantly says, on my favorite song on there is History Has Its Eyes on You, and who lives, who dies, who tells your story. And so I have been using Periscope lately to get my intentions across. Not necessarily acting. Hi, Mrs. Boeing. Not necessarily acting on those intentions, but I'm going back, I'm looking at it and seeing what it is that I've done, what it is that I've said I want to do, and realize that at the core of it all, I'm fighting for happiness. I'm fighting for opportunities for other people to have opportunities for things that they may not have seen as an option before. And really a sense of peace and a sense of well-being. So I hope as you step into 2016 and as you look back at everything you have achieved in 2015, number one, pat yourself on the back because you are on Periscope, which is amazing. That means you're one of a very small population that's taking advantage of the technology. Hopefully you are making connections. Hi, Sabine. So I'm hoping that you all are really reflecting on and really deciding to take action on the things that you have learned yesterday so that you can lead tomorrow. Oh, you are so very welcome, CC. Periscope, and I think it's been in me all along. This is just another outlet. This is another outlet for you to express yourself as well as learn. I say Periscope every day is a living, breathing encyclopedia. And if people are not on here, another layer of Z, right? It's just an onion. It just keeps going, right? If you are not taking the opportunity to really learn, not just, oh, I have to get on that newsletter, or oh, I have to buy that training program, but really, really taking the time to learn stuff and apply it, you're doing yourself a disservice. And then also the final thing, if you're not sharing the world through your eyes, I said this on another scope, you're doing the world a disservice. There is so much more than what you have seen painted on television as the way it should be. Hi, DMV Cosmetology. What you've seen painted on television has a lot of people scared to press the start broadcast button because you don't fit that mold. I don't fit that mold either. I came on here. Responsibility within us all. You are such an inspiration. I'm still not completely out of my shell, but you're exiting or you're excited. Either you're exiting your shell or you're very excited to be in your shell. When I first started pressing start broadcast on Periscope, I didn't even realize it was open to the Twitterverse. I just assumed that any of my friends or people that I was already following on Twitter would find me and see it. So I would have been excited with 5 people in the room, 2 people in the room. And so when I would start getting 5 people, 20 people, 100 people, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. This is much bigger. It still scares me. I just do. Yes. Anna, Mrs. Bowen, thank you for inviting your followers. And see, when someone invites followers, that means, well, either A, they like what I'm saying, or they want me to just say hi to them and make sure I can see their comment. But whatever it is, at some point you are going to have an opportunity to touch somebody else. And you never know who is on the other side of this phone. That's all I wanted to say. I can go much further, but I'm sure there's a lot of airtime that other people, yeah, that red button is no joke, but it does get easier. It gets so much easier. And then, honestly, I fumble over my words. I did that at work forever. I am so grateful that I have met you. You are amazing. I am learning scopes. Mrs. Bowen, see, and you know what? I'm so glad you typed that, because had I fallen for that fear of not pressing the start broadcast button, you may not have interacted with me. It may have been a longer time before you started scoping and someone else gets to get your gift. So it's an ongoing cycle. It's an ongoing cycle of one person touching the next person and the next person. And it just keeps going and it gets so much bigger. And a lot of the pressure, a lot of the fear that everyone feels comes from up here. It's nothing that's happening out there. You may be comparing yourself to, whenever I go on that person's scope, they have about 50 people. What if nobody comes to mine? And if nobody comes to your scope, scope for yourself. Scope for yourself so that you can learn from it and see that, oh man, I made a real big mistake there. And I don't want this to just be about, I want to be a great live streamer next year. I want it to be, what if you're not a big talker? I think I'm doing horrible. Then I rewatch it. It says it's fine. I have started to miss my scope homies. What if you're not a big talker? I thought I wasn't a big talker. Do you guys think I'm a big talker? I'm curious what the answer to that question is. No, I'm not a big talker. Anna is right. But when you start, and I say this all the time too, when you step out of supposed to be and just start doing whatever it is that you feel in here, everything else just comes. So when I was on here and I was talking about this is the way that you develop courses, this is how you design an e-learning course, or this is how you design an instructor-led course. I was just completely out of my element. And it's not because I'm not good at it. It's just because that's what I do in my career for 8 hours a day. That's what I have to do to put food on the table. I love the work that I do. But the moment that I stepped into what it is that I'm passionate about, which a lot of you may be under the impression that it's making soap, that's a part of it. But the moment that I stepped out of, this is what you're supposed to talk about because somebody said that you're great at it, instead of this is what you are truly gifted with doing. The moment that I switched over, the moment creating, you got it, CC, creating opportunity. That's what I love to do. So when it's the moment that switch went off, and I was a part of Biz Babes, and they had like this 5-day challenge, and one of the things, it was busting limiting beliefs, looking at your fears, and on one of those scopes, I actually broke down into tears on that scope, and I actually cried on Periscope twice. I cried on Periscope twice. Once was when I was talking about how I feel like I am losing a lot of the things that were so close to me because I have become so focused on this is where I need to go, which means that I no longer have time for all of those external things. I no longer can hang out on a Friday night, just hanging out, drinking sometimes, playing cards, talking crap, watching reality. All of that stuff I no longer had time for. And I just felt like I was losing all of the most important things that I thought I was building this for. And then when I bust that belief of, I was coming on Periscope attempting to serve a whole group of people and I lost sight of what I was doing it for, which was those people that were closest to me and around me. So it was kind of a dichotomy of sorts, but I realized how I could marry the two. And it was like a light bulb went off in that moment. So that's how Periscope School was born. Periscope really be trying on the heartstrings. Don't you cry. This is New Year's Eve. There is no crying. Like my mentor used to always say to me, there is no crying in baseball. I would go in her office like, they're making it so hard. And she was like, you ain't gonna cry. I don't care what you're talking about. You're not about to cry. I get off track. But I'm hoping that you figure out what it is that you're fighting for. Figure out what it is that you're willing to give up in order to have that dream become reality. And really make sure you're learning every day. And take that into tomorrow. Today and tomorrow should merge for you. And I know that sounds very strange. But every single thing that I have learned has everything. And when you become aware of that, good or bad, when you become aware of just how true that is, I'm going to give you a prime example. Think about when text messaging first came out. My stepfather refused to get on the text messaging bucket. Zero. Like, not doing it. And imagine if none of us would have done text messaging. None of us would have been able to comment on these scopes. So I know that's like a very drawn down kind of version of that. But just take that as one example. You are learning something new. You are learning how to interact on Periscope. So the next wave of Periscope people that come in, you're going to be able to sit there and tell them, oh yeah, you follow somebody by clicking on the people or swiping left and right. You tap the screen to do this, that, and the other. There's only 5% of people on Periscope right now. That's going to continue to grow, or on any live streaming platform. So every day you learn something, and somebody's going to need to learn. You can help them, and you can help yourself. So I hope you all have a very happy new year. Enjoy tonight if you can get around family, friends, or church if my brother is still on here. Make sure you do that. And I'll see you all next year. Bye, everybody. Happy New Year, Mrs. Bowen.